Hello, guys. Hi, how are you doing today? So, for today's session, we have Unit 2 overview on networks of exchange, and I'm Jamal Willis, and let's just dive into our AP World History Modern Review. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Fiveable, make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube, our Instagram, and our Twitter. And just a little disclaimer for today's video. If you're having problems with the audio, make sure you put a comment in the comment section just so I know that you guys are getting the information that I'm trying to get out to you guys. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down at any time. And also, if you guys see me looking down at any moment in time, just know that I have my notes right here so I can just give you guys everything that I want to give. And so you guys understand the full content that Unit 2 has to offer. Okay, next slide. So here are what Fiveable offers. If you go to fiveable.me and yeah, if you go to fiveable.me, you can basically send us messages to clarify what you've learned in your classes. And if you need like additional writing essays on your SAQs and your LEQs, you can contact us any moment in time. And you'll actually be talking to one of our teachers or star students in real time. So just make sure you take that opportunity as well because it's going to be very helpful. So, yeah. So let's begin. Unit 2, Networks of Exchange in the time era 1200 to 1450. Beginning in this time era, we have the Silk Roads, which are very important when it comes to trade. Along the Silk Roads, we see an existence of increased trade along from different empires, and we also see a high level of commercial activity along these trade roads, these trade routes. Sorry, we see a transportation of goods such as jade, silk, and other examples, all that good stuff. And along the Silk Roads, it was a majority of luxury goods because it was symbolic to the Eurasian trade route system in essence. And basically, the Silk Road was where all the high royal, all that kind of, uh, I don't know how you would explain it, but all of that, the high bureaucratic kind of things, good stuff like that, will be traded. And silk was the main currency along that route, which was why it was known as the Silk Road. It was one of the world's most largest and most extensive trade networks and provided security for merchants and travelers at the same time. Some travelers that you guys might have heard of were uh, Iban Matamuta, I think I'm butchering his name, and Marco Polo. Marco Polo. So yeah, and also religion also diffused along this trade route. Religions such as, let me think, guys. I know it. Religions such as Buddhism from Islam, and then you have synchronized cultures such as Greco-Romans who synthesized Buddhism into their day-to-day lives because they felt as if they needed this to feel secure in their personal things. And one example I want to give you guys today is Hercules. They thought that Hercules was protected by Buddha, and yeah. And also, you have the spread of diseases along the Silk Road, such as the bubonic plague, which is also known as the Black Death, infectious diseases in Athens, and also smallpox and measles. And so, just going into the bubonic plague, if you guys don't know, it was basically all about fleas on rats, which a song on YouTube also helps you guys to remember if you guys don't know as yet. I know that Skylar reviewed this, So make sure you guys also go and check out her video on the Silk Roads, because it's also very important that you guys also review some of Fiveable's streams that they have to offer. And going back to these diseases led to a drastic decrease in population due to lack of immunity. And here we have a picture on the slide that details the transportation along the Silk Roads. And it was basically depicting Abraham and the Jewish Iberian scholars traveling along these Silk Roads. So, yeah. Next topic is the Mongols, the Mongolian Empire, and the making of the modern world. So, when it comes to the Mongols, you guys need to know that they were Central Asian nomadic or pastoralist invaders. They also, when they were conquering their various settlements, they referred to them as the Mongolian Khanates. And these Khanates were basically spread spread all around Asia, such as Manchuria, yeah, just Manchuria, but also many more, but I can't think of them right now, so I'm very sorry. And also, the Mongols were very formidable, which is one of the main reasons why they conquered a vast majority of land in Asia. But once you guys get into Unit 3, you'll also see the collapse of the Mongolian Empire due to the fact that they were expanding so large. They cannot secure the entirety of their land. So, yeah, overexpansion was the decline in the Mongolian Empire, but that's coming up in Unit 3. So make sure you guys look out for those streams coming up in this week. Next, I want to talk about the Black Death and how it played a role in the Mongolian Empire, mainly because they used it as a form of biological warfare by throwing it over or catapulting it over walls into other territories, which led to the spread of the Black Death. Along with the Silk Roads, the Mongolian Empire was a major factor in the spreading of the Black Death. Next, the Mongols connected the world to a larger area through the Silk Roads, and this was going to be very helpful for them because it gave them a name in other empires or other places of the world where people were not known about the Mongols and their curiosity or their, I don't know how you would describe it. They were very like brute force and like strong like that. So that's how I would say it. Next, you have they secured the Silk Roads, which kind of discontinued other empires from trading. And after this, you'll see where other trade routes come to flourish, such as the Indian Ocean trade route and the Trans-Saharan trade route, just because the Mongols blocked it off for other empires from transporting their goods. It, the Mongolian Empire also linked Persia and Asia together. So you guys need to know these cultural connections that are being forged through the Mongolian Empire and their time in the spotlight, basically. Uh, Fun fact, they were also religiously tolerant, which no one would no one would ever assume that they were religiously tolerant, considering the fact that they were so formidable and that most people just consider them as barbarians or troglodytes, with troglodytes because all people perceived that they know were words such as bar bar bar. I know, right? That's like really strange. But they were religiously tolerant and they accepted Jews, Christians, Buddhists, and all types of religions. Next, they were strong in administration and they had a very structured taxation system because it was very systematic. So their economy was very high, and they ensured, because of the strong administration, that they always had a surplus of goods or whatever to just make sure that they had what they needed at every moment in time. Next, you have social and gender equality. They were very, because they were nomadic peoples, they were also very egalitarian at the same time, which also helped them to flourish as a society, which was very helpful, to be honest, because it just incorporated everybody in the society and it would overall be good, just good in general. So yeah, and if you guys did not catch, this was reviewed by Varun and Jed. So if you guys haven't checked them out yet, make sure you check them out in this week's live stream, or you can go on Fiveable and replay some of the past live streams that we've had. So yeah, next we have sorry. Next we have the exchange in the Indian Ocean. This was reviewed by Patrick Lasseter, and just going off the Indian Ocean Trade Network, this was one of the largest sea based networks ever known in history. Well, not comparing it today, in that time period, I should say. And here they fostered the growth of states all over, trading to various places throughout. And by the end of this slide, just this slide, you'll see a image of the various places that they traded with. So just keep in mind that they fostered growth to different states. Next, they were largely sea-based system for communication and exchange. Along exchanging things, their transportation cost their transportation cost was very low compared to the Silk Roads because majority of their goods were being were of large bulk and in higher quantities, which meant that all the goods that they were exporting could not be too expensive, because then it would just be a larger version of the Silk Road, and then why not just trade on the Silk Road? You understand? So basically, the goods being shipped were not as expensive and could be carried in higher quantities and in bulk. Their trade along this route was controlled by monsoons, as along with the sea back then, they could not predict where they were going to be transported. So the monsoons were indication to them of where specifically they were going to go in that time. Yes, I just covered transportation was low in comparison to the Silk Roads. Technological advancements. In this time, along this trade route, we see technological advancements such as caravan, caravansari as a form of credit. And also, we see the development of money along this trade route, as well as the use of the compass, the astrobal, and large ship designs that can be, for example, junks. Junks is a type of ship that was developed along this trade route. Hold on, I'm just looking here for my notes. Yeah, it was along that trade route. And also, you have the calculation of latitude and the evolving of the needle as well. So, a lot of technological advancements were developed along the Indian Ocean trade route. Next, you have the introduction of new cultures. For instance, you have Christianity being introduced to Axum, which was in, if I believe, was in a territory in Africa. So, yeah, it was. And then you have Islam, which was being introduced to Muslim merchants, which formed a diasporic community, which was also reviewed by Skyo. So make sure you go check out her streams. But if you guys don't know, or just to refresh your memories, a diasporic community was a community of people who lived outside their shared country of origin or ancestry, but maintained an active connection with each other and with their ancestry as well. And a diaspora includes both immigrants and other descendants of that culture. So, one thing you guys need to know is about the Muslim community that the Indian Ocean trade route formed, because this comes up a lot of times on your AP test, and it's just going to be very crucial that you guys know this content. Next, you have Angkor 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 Wat, which was one of the largest monuments for the Hindus. And then you have Bora Budar, which is a monument for Buddhism. It's one of the largest monuments for Buddhists, and it's still the largest monument for Buddhists to this day. So that's just very interesting. Know that this sea-based trade route was able to foster to both Hindus and Buddhists, along with many various religious groups. And then next you have uh, Hindu building, state built, a Hindu, I don't know how you would put that, but a Hindu place that fostered a connection between commerce and state building at the same time, which was known as Sri Vayana. It's very it's very important when it comes to studying this aspect of exchange, as it fostered to building and economic increases or growth along this trade route. Next, you have cultural fusions that resulted from trade along the Indian Ocean trade routes. One notable cultural fusion that you guys should know about is the Swahili in Africa, who participated in larger trading. This is going to be very important because the Swahili relationships with other civilizations greatly increased because of this trading route, such as the Swahilis were able to trade with Great Zimbabwe at the time, and it rapidly became an Islamic nation that in later times will divide into other countries. So yeah, that's another topic that you guys need to know about: the rapid growth of Islam to other cultures. So going next, here are the diagrams that I mentioned. So just looking at it, we see the many places that the Indian Ocean uh, traded to. We see places in India and Africa along the Persian area as well, and also going into Polynesia. And also, you're gonna see in this next one, you're seeing all the goods in which were traded. Yeah, so you're just seeing. Hold on for a second, guys. I'm just having a little technical difficulties. So, yeah, goods such as literature, well, books, and all that good stuff was being traded along the Indian Ocean. Next in the slide, we have the Astrobal, which was discovered along the Indian Ocean trading. And it's just a very notable technological advancement that also is going to be used today because it helps to solve problems, and it involves time and the position of the sun and stars as well. And it can be used for timekeeping, surveying, geography, and astronomy, just to name a few disciplines. And one of the most notable forms, navigation, which also helped sailors along that time to navigate these monsoons. Next in the stream, we're gonna go to the Trans-Saharan trade routes. Just let me get my notes prepared so I don't forget anything. Okay, along these trade routes, it linked North Africa and the Mediterranean to West Africa. It also transformed West Africa by connecting it to larger parts of the world. And this connection will also be a part of cultural connectivities and the consequences, which is another key concept coming up soon in this live stream. It was also rooted in environmental variations, which just mean it changed the environment because of this trade, because of the trading that occurred. And next, we have the introduction of the camel, which meant for transportation along the Trans-Saharan desert. Next, you have West African goods that were traded, such as gold, salt, and slaves. And these also are going to impact different units. So just keep in mind specific continuities that you guys can put when it comes time for writing your LEUs or your SAQs, depending on what specifically they're asking for. Yeah, here's a point that says these were of high demands back then, and you'll see how they continue to be impactful in upcoming time periods. So make sure you guys look out for that continuity and change over time. Uh, just as one of the uh, concepts that you guys can put on your writing. Next, you have growing integration with the world that because as it generated social complexity and hierarchy characteristics. Basically, this means that with Africa being integrated into the world, it allowed for social social classes to be viewed upon and hierarchy to be changed and see what actually actually how class or hierarchy should be impacted. Also, another important key that you guys should note that powerful women were seen as dangerous, which is not heard of in this time period because we're all familiar with patriarchy and how it affects women. But in Africa, we see this change and how women are they're standing up and they're being powerful, which is something good to note when it comes to writing about the Trans-Saharan trade route. Imam Batuta is one of the Muslim travelers who traveled to Mali, and he was just appalled when he came to his arrival upon Mali because of all the aspects that were not conforming to the Muslim tradition. And that's just one thing I would note for to be just to get familiar with his name and what his purpose was in that specific time. Yeah. And if you guys did not know, this was also reviewed by Donald Duorto. So yeah, you guys can just look out for those replays. If you guys have any questions at this moment, you can just put them in the question area or just put them in the comment section. Yeah. Next, we have 2.5, which is all about cultural consequences of connectivity, which means the cultural uh, aspects that were impacted by the connections that were formed during this uh, time, all about trade routes. So one notable thing we see here is diasporic communities, which was basically all about immigrants or people of that were not that were not connected with their country of origin at the time, forming new new identities along these trade routes, mainly merchants. So that's one cultural consequence of connectivity. Next, you have the diffusion of religions such as Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam that were a consequence of connecting these trade routes. Next, you have migrations such as the Bantu migration and Polynesian migration that were a result of these new trade routes that were being formed at the time. Next, you have the borrowing of customs. Some customs were like the borrowing Persian tradition being borrowed into Islamic states, such as the veiled woman, absolute power of the caliphate, and etc. And also, you have Chinese traditions in Japan, such as the Taika reforms, centralized Confucian based bureaucracies, Chinese writing, Buddhism, and equal fuel systems, which were a sign of borrowing of customs during the time. Also, you have a change in gender roles and family roles, as you guys just heard about in Trans-Saharan trade routes, how women were seen as dangerous, and how with the Mongols and them connecting, how they had a egalitarian society. Those are just like a few notable adjustments that will see coming up in Unit 3. So yeah, just try to make that connectivity in this time era and also in other time eras, because it showcases you guys' ability as historians to make these connections, whether it be in this time period or whether it be from the present era. So yeah, just try to make those connections, guys. Patriarchy, that's gonna be a very crucial, I wouldn't say crucial, but powerful idea when it comes to gender roles in this time era and going forth. Next, you have the synthesis. Oh, I'm so sorry. Synthesis of local foreign traditions, such as Persians, Islamic, like I basically said before, veiled woman, absolute power of caliphate, yeah, or caliph, yeah. Just make sure you guys know those synthesis, so you guys understand the content and understand what's going on in AP world. I'm just gonna explain the image. It's half of it's Shiva and half of it's Vishnu. Obviously, this is from the Indian culture, and it's Javism. It's Javist. So yeah, one of those synthesis I would suggest, because yeah. So yeah, next we're gonna have. Hold on, I see a question. I'm just gonna answer that real quick before I get into environmental consequences and connectivity. Okay, Caleb wants me to explain diaspora communities again. Okay, I will just go back and look at. So basically, when it comes to diasporic communities, it's all about, so merchants, you're gonna have who aren't from their specific areas coming together from certain countries where they sell just to sell products and interact with each other. And this marked a global impact because they were able to trade cultures or spread cultures and ideologies to certain parts of the world. So, and also, I just want to include that they were like immigrants or descendants. So it's just like people who lived outside of their shared country but maintain active connections with it. Does that answer your question? You can just comment if it doesn't, or I could just go into further detail for you. Okay, Caleb? Okay, thank you. Okay, so 2.6, which is all about environmental uh, consequences of connectivity. One, you're going to have the diffusion of new crops to other regions, for example, bananas in Africa, new rice in East Asia, and the spread of cotton, sugar, and citrus along these various trade routes. Also, you're going to have numerous pathogens such as the bubonic plague or the black plague that were seen in these trade routes. Next, you have the transportation of commercial technologies and transportational ideas such as the junks, and then you'll have like your astrobal, your compass, things like that, or are seen as commercial technologies or transportational technologies. Then you'll have your economies, such as your bill of exchange, your credit. Yeah, you see how I spelled it? Yeah, just for the emphasis. And then you're gonna have your checks and your paper money, just for that idea of building your economy from these spread of new ideas. So you really see this innovation that occurred along these trade routes because of the spread of ideas and how people were actually talking to each other and sharing their ideas, which was it's very phenomenal to see how these interactions played in the building of other economies and the building of cultures. So that's a very good thing to note, guys, when it comes to uh, connections and connectivity. Also, you're going to have different innovations like taxation, and then the tributary systems, and then the adaptations of religious institutions. So, just that's the plague, a little tropical rat flea. That's how it spread. Fleas on rats, fleas on rats. Yeah, that's a little song I learned in my AP World History class last year. You guys could check it out on YouTube. I think it's still there. It's like the parody of Gwen Stefani or something like that, but it was very helpful. I was singing it all last year when it came to taking the AP test. Okay, never mind. 2.7 comparison of economic exchange. Here you have the existence of trade routes that led to the increase of trade and commercial activity. And also, you see the transportation of different goods sorry, along these trade routes, and majority of these goods were luxury items from the Silk Road. And then we see these trade routes being very extensive and very economically beneficial to others because they help to spread different ideas. And yeah, just also, okay, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but the multiple choice questions are coming up, and this is very linked to number 4 and number 5. So I think now is when the multiple choice questions are coming up, and these are just a sample, guys. And for this, we'll be using the polls to get some answers. So I want you guys, whenever there's a question, you guys should answer using the polls. And this is not just to make you guys feel bad in any way or any form. It's just to see where you guys are at, see how well you're picking up on these new information that you're learning. And yep, let's begin. First question. This relates to source A and source B. And hold on for one moment. In source A, it reads, after Chinggis Khan's son Tala's death, the great Khan commanded that as long as he lived, affairs of the state should be administered in accordance to the counsel of Tuli's wife. So Guantani Beki and her sons, that the army and the people, great and small, should be under the control of her command and her and prohibition, and her hand was ever open in great generosity and gift giving. Although she was a follower of the religion of Jesus, she would bestow alms and presents upon imams and shakaks, and strive also to revive the sacred obser- observations of the faith of Mohammed. And as the token and proof of this statement, she gave a 10,000 silver balach that a madastra might might be built in Bokhara. Allah ad-Din Giovanni, a Persian scholar and later governor of Baghdad for Mongol overlords, the history of the world conqueror, the Mongol conquest, which begun in circa 1252 to 53. So, and in source B, this is a representation of the siege of Baghdad, which occurred in 1258. Oh, there you guys go. So, I hope you guys put in answers for those. Yeah, I got one answer. The answer was B, and you are correct. Religious popularism. And the question was, a historian could best use source A to illustrate which of the following aspects of the Mongolian Empire. And yeah, it was religious popularism because the Mongolians were religiously tolerant. So good job for whoever did that. Next question is going to be, sorry. Next question is going to be about Tamerlane's Tamerlane's tomb in Central Asia, uh, Samarkand in present day Uzbekistan. And it says, which of the following developments most directly contributed to the tomb pictured above? Is it A, the creation of the Yuan dynasty, B, the establishment of the Islamic Caliphate, C, the expansion of the Turkish nomadic empires, or D, the foundation of the Mali Empire? So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of time to analyze that. Sorry about the first one. It was just a glitch on my part. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to answer this one. So I've already seen some answers. I've seen A and D. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for the others. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay, so yeah, let's see what the answer was. And the answer was C, expansion of Turkish nomadic empires. This was because this Central Asian tomb was built in Central Asia, which is present day Uzbekistan, and the Mongols were the one to conquer Central Asia around that time. So that's where you guys should have made that connection. So I'm sorry if you guys didn't get it, but I'm sure you guys should know the big picture idea. Hold on, I forgot to tell you guys that the big ideas in this section were about the Silk Roads, the Mongols, guys, they're going to be very crucial in this time era. The Indian Ocean trade route, the Trans-Saharan trade route, and the environmental cultural aspects. So those are like the big ones, especially the Mongols and the Silk Roads. They really emphasize those on the AP test. So I would just, if you guys don't know the answer, go with something if it relates to this time era to either the Mongols, the Silk Roads, or one of the trade routes, because that's what it's mostly gonna, the answer is gonna be. Next question relating to the tomb, we have which of the following formed context for Samarkand in the 14th century that is visible in the tomb's picture above? So this one still has to do with the Mongols. And just really look at the architecture and the way that the tomb is structured. It's going to be very helpful because it relates back to one of these religious ideas. Just giving you guys a little few seconds to put in your answers. So I see one is C. I see one answer is C. I see B. That's good. So I'm gonna show you guys the answers. Hold on, guys. And just remember, we are still going off the Mongols. So, yeah. Yeah, it was B, guys, because it was a Persian mosque. Basically, this just meant that the Mongols or the place in Uzbekistan at that time is mainly Sunni Islam, they're basically Muslim, and so Persian Muslim was like the only viable option. But I could see where you guys went with Christianity. It does look like a Christian-esque building, so yeah. But good job though, guys. Those were like the two ones I would have picked, but it was definitely B. Next question, question number 4. So this image has to do with counting house scenes from Italy in the late 14th century from the treatises on the Vices. Yeah. Historians could best use the image to the right to illustrate which of the following. Was it A, the expansion of empires facilitated trade across Afro-Eurasia? B, it improved commercial practices in Europe and increased the volume of trade? C, long distance trade fostered the growth of states? Or D, strong demand for luxury simulated texture manufacturing? So I'm going to give you guys a little time to answer that question. And let's see what the answer was. It was B. It improved commercial practices in Europe and increased the volume of trade. You guys just really have to look out for some of these crucial details. I could see where you guys could have went with C or D. I'm just looking at the responses right now. Yeah, because it's one of the like points that I gave you guys, but I would really choose B because it did improve commercial practices in Europe and increase the volume of trade. And it couldn't have been D because it wasn't necessarily suggesting the Silk Road or talking about the Silk Road at this time. So would have been B. Yeah. Next question. Okay, you guys should get this one. Like, come on, think about money, guys. So the bills of exchange used by Genoese bankers, such as those pictured at the right, were most similar to which of the following Chinese innovations? Think about money, like money. Give you guys a little bit of time to answer that. So I see 2 answers already for number 5. And let's just see what the answer is. Flying cash, money, guys. Yeah. Because it obviously deals with the bankers and Chinese innovations, which was flying cash at the time. So, good job in noticing that. Okay, so next we have a practice SAQ and some of the topics that are going to be asked is identify one commercial innovation. For example, something new that simulated interregional trade in the time period circa 1600 to circa 1400, 1450. And B, identify and explain one similarity between two networks of trade in the period from circa 1200 to circa 1450. And C, identify and explain one difference between two networks of exchange in the period from circa 1200 to circa 1450. Okay, you guys could put in the comment section what you guys think, some ideas, or what are some things you would answer when it comes to this SAQ. I'm sorry, guys. What I would put was for the commercial innovations, I would put, yeah, yes, good job, Sunny, for A, the magnetic compass, the astrobul, the caravansari. Those were the main technological commercial innovations that could be put. How about B? What would you guys put for B? Just any trade routes, the Silk Road versus the Trans-Saharan, or the Indian Road and the Trans-Saharan, or the Silk Road and the Trans-Saharan. What are some similarities between those two? Sunny, I just saw what you put. That would be for C, the differences. So that's a good answer for C, different nationalities. You certainly have your Muslims in the diasporic community that they formed on the Indian Ocean trade route versus the Silk Roads where they had different like mm, they had their Mongolians trading along that trade route. So yeah, I could see that. Oh yeah, you're fine. Don't need to apologize. But one similarity that I would say was in the Silk Road, you had a diffusion of cultural beliefs and religious beliefs that both of them fostered to, and they both fostered to the growth of different states, which is one similarity that I would put. Going to see Sunny identified one different national nationalities participated, and I would go into saying that the types of goods traded, because in your Silk Roads you had your luxury items such as silk, and versus the Indian Ocean where they had their common goods that were traded in bulks, and just that idea of how they varied just by what they traded, that could be very huge. Just just outlining that or seeing that is going to be good. Again, guys, I'm not trying to like uh judge you guys on your answers, just so you guys see these connections and you start brainstorming some ideas yourselves for when it comes to time for you to review for the AP test. I do hope all of you guys are taking the AP test. Yeah, and yeah. Oh yeah, Caleb, that's a good one too. That's very good. Yeah. So you guys did a good job. Yeah, I would rate you guys, like give you a 3 on your like SAQs already. So good job. So if you guys have any questions now, this is the time that you would ask me. So I'm gonna give you guys like around, I don't know, 5 minutes just about questioning, and I'll answer anything you guys wanna ask me. If it's about the AP test, you can ask me. If it's about how life's going, you can ask me. So, yeah. I just want to commend you guys on your answers for the multiple choice section. Very good job. You guys were able to like understand most of it, which is like super good. Okay, so I see a answer from Caleb. Sorry. But ask, was the AP test pretty tough? Okay, all I want to say, it's gonna be tough if you don't study from like, or you don't understand or grasp your concepts from now, so that when it comes time for you to review, when the AP test is like 2 months away or a month away, then it's gonna be pretty hard. But I feel if you went into the AP test not knowing what to do, then it's gonna be really hard. But if you actually prepare yourself with the resources online and what your teacher tells you to do, then you're gonna do pretty fine, and you don't need to like worry. Because when I took it, the multiple choice was super easy. The SAQs were okay. The SAQs were kind of hard, but I still did it. I still did good. But the DBQs and the LEQs for me, they were pretty easy. And yeah, as long as you prepare yourself and you know what you're going into, and as long as you can like make connections from previous time eras and see how things impacted different things throughout the course of history, then you're gonna be fine and you're gonna pass the test. I hope that answers your question, Caleb. Uh, any more questions, guys? So if that's all the questions, guys, I just want to say that when it comes to using and utilizing your resources, Fiveable is a great option, and you guys should make sure that you use everything that Fiveable offers to re-enhance your memory or develop your skills to become a historian and or to pass the AP test in May. And if Fiveable is not for you, then just make sure that you're using something to enhance your abilities in AP World, because I just don't think that like reading the book or watching a video once a week is gonna help you guys pass that test. So make sure you're doing something. You're prepping yourself for that examination when it comes time in May. Ooh, that was a lot to say, and yeah. So I'm just gonna leave you guys off with saying, if you're not subscribed to Fiveable, make sure you subscribe to our Twitter, to our Instagram, and to our YouTube, and also like text us at fiveable.me, just in case you guys want any one of us to clarify information that you guys don't understand in your classes. And I just want to say that we have quality content, and so you guys should really use that. And I just hope you guys do well on your AP test. You use all the resources that you have, and make sure you guys are studying these key concepts or topics from Unit 2. So I'm just going to say goodbye, guys, and I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you guys do well on the AP test, and I hope you have all the best of luck when it comes to taking that AP test. You're welcome, Caleb. Just bye, guys, and have an amazing day.